As these times remain as uncertain as ever, NASCAR's tentative 2020 schedule revisions have been revealed. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric, and welcome to Out of the Groove. You guys might notice it looks a little different, probably sounds a bit different as well. I'm back using my original camera and microphone setup, but I'm still trying to figure out some sort of permanent studio setup that looks good. I got basically a skeleton. I don't have any crew here working with me, so I'm trying to figure this all out on the fly, but thanks for being here, y'all. We have a lot of things to discuss on today's episode. So late last night, The Athletic received NASCAR's tentative 2020 revised schedule that they sent to the race teams recently. This is apparently one of several variant schedules that they have sent around that they're looking at as possibilities to get the rest of the season in. And the one that The Athletic got hold of and published last night shows a situation where NASCAR, the Cup Series at least, would return May 24th for the Coca-Cola 600. Remember, NASCAR had their fingers crossed and was kind of hoping they could get back racing by Martinsville May 9th, but the governor of Virginia recently increased the length of their stay-at-home order to include all of May and the first week or so of June, so now Martinsville happening as scheduled is almost impossible. So today we're going to look through the schedule that The Athletic published. We're going to look at it date by date pretty much. We're going to talk about the major changes, the things that are interesting, the things that maybe are shocking about the schedule. But it is worth mentioning before we get started that this is all tentative. This is not set in stone by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, there is a very good chance this schedule that we're going to look at today is not going to actually come to fruition on the real racetrack in 2020. This is just a good idea, I think, to see where NASCAR's head is at, because NASCAR still very much plans on running all 36 races. And for the time being, I think that's the plan fans have to be excited for as well. Obviously, the world continues to change very fast. If you've kept up with the news, if you've kept up with the numbers, everything, the projections, everything is changing almost daily, sometimes for the better, usually for the worse. So I would take everything I'm going to talk about today with a bit of a grain of salt. I will wrap up this episode though later by talking about something that is not hypothetical. NASCAR and NBC and iRacing, of course, have put together something pretty exciting for any fans of classic short tracks. Get excited for that. We're going to talk about that at the end of the show. But for now, let's look at this schedule that The Athletic got hold of, the schedule that NASCAR sent to race teams. So I already mentioned that this schedule assumes NASCAR will be back racing on May 24th at Charlotte for the Coca-Cola 600. You guys like doubleheaders, midweek races? Get ready for a lot of them. So let's go through some of the highlights here. This schedule features 4 Wednesday night races, starting with Martinsville. Martinsville July 1st, Richmond July 8th, Kentucky July 15th, and Homestead, Miami would be July 29th. That would be the makeup date for Miami. We'll look at the schedule in a minute. The month of July and August is pretty much insane. Now, besides Pocono already being a scheduled doubleheader this summer, NASCAR is adding 2 more doubleheader weekends with this revised schedule. There'd be 2 Cup races at Michigan August 8th and 9th, one on Saturday, one on Sunday, and also Dover at the end of August, August 22nd and 23rd. You'd get 2 NASCAR Cup Series races at Dover in the same weekend. Pocono, of course, already has its doubleheader weekend at the end of June, so that one would not change. So you got 3 doubleheader weekends, 2 of them brand new, as well as 4 midweek races. Now, also with this revised schedule, NASCAR has basically eliminated all upcoming off weekends that teams were expecting, and they've filled races and put them in those dates as well. Atlanta would be expected to run July 12th. That means the Kentucky date that was initially scheduled for July 12th has now been moved to what I said earlier, a midweek race. It's been bumped a few days. The original spring Talladega race would be July 26th, and then Bristol would be August 2nd. So July and August are going to be busy. Those couple of weeks that NBC originally had off for NASCAR to show the Olympics, with the Olympics not happening this year, that has freed up the calendar quite a bit. Now NASCAR is jamming races into those weeks, so it's gonna be busy. I'm excited. I want NASCAR to come back, but I'm looking at this schedule, and July and August are gonna be unreal if this happens. Now, I know some of you Michigan fans might be wondering, wait, why are we getting a doubleheader weekend when neither of our weekends have been affected yet? Well, you see, the first Michigan race weekend will now be given to Texas under this revised schedule for Texas to make up its spring date that got postponed. And so with Texas running June 7th, that would make Texas Motor Speedway June 6th and 7th the official first IndyCar NASCAR Cup Series doubleheader weekend. Because the IndyCar Series runs their Saturday night on June 6th. So you got IndyCar Saturday night, Cup Series on Sunday afternoon at Texas Motor Speedway. That comes about a month before the now scheduled IndyCar NASCAR doubleheader at Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the road course and the Brickyard 400 and everything. So Texas Motor Speedway, if this schedule comes to fruition, would beat them to the punch and take the mantle for the first IndyCar NASCAR Cup Cup Series doubleheader. So let's just go ahead and skim through the full list of schedule. The Athletic here, Jordan Bianchi, Jeff Gluck, they published the entire schedule. Let's skim through it really quick. I've hit the highlights, the main changes. Let's see what this looks like. Oh boy, so we start with Charlotte, then go to Kansas, then Texas. Well, that's a lot of mile and a half, but you gotta do it. Then Sonoma, then Chicagoland, then the doubleheader at Pocono. So May and June wouldn't look too strange, just racing, once a week, except for obviously Pocono being a doubleheader. But, you can put Texas in there with IndyCar. That has the potential to be a pretty exciting time. Then we get to July and August. This is crazy. You got Martinsville, a Wednesday race, then Indianapolis the same week, and that's going to be that doubleheader with IndyCar as well. And you got the Xfinity Series on the road course that weekend. That's crazy. Then just a couple days later, we're at Richmond, then Atlanta, then Kentucky, New Hampshire, Talladega in July. Ooh. Homestead Miami Speedway, that's going to be a humid one. Bristol, Michigan, another Michigan race. Watkins Glen, and a doubleheader at Dover, and then Daytona, which is still going to be the last race of the regular season. But if you add that up, that's how many? 15 Cup Series races in July and August? 15 races in 2 months. Oh, I mean, if you're just a fan sitting on your couch, this is like a dream come true. You barely have to wait 3 days for another Cup Series race to grace your television screens. But I do kind of feel for the people working for the teams, working at the shop. The turnaround time, the logistics are going to be mind-boggling at times. I also feel bad for those at the racetrack, because going to Texas in June, Alabama in July, oh my goodness, they're going to be going to Homestead Miami Speedway. That's going to be... You can't step outside without feeling like you just stepped out of a hot shower. It's going to be a sauna out there in the end of July. I feel bad for these guys. It's going to be painful. Better stay hydrated. My goodness, I don't want to hear anyone say NASCAR drivers and crew guys aren't athletes after those 2 months. If this all happens, that just... Whew, I'm sweating just thinking about it, my God. Anyway, the really exciting thing about this is that the NASCAR playoffs have really not been affected. The 10 races are more or less the exact same and are even going to be scheduled basically the same way. 1 race a week starting at Darlington. The only difference here is you see Texas and Las Vegas have swapped. It's inconclusive as to why they bothered to do that, but now Texas Motor Speedway will be in the second round and Las Vegas will be in the second to last round before the championship still ends at Phoenix. So Phoenix Raceway, with its millions of dollars of investment they put forth a few years back, still going to get to hold on to the championship weekend that they've been marketing really, really hard. So that's great news. Overall, what do you think of that schedule? I've already kind of let you guys know what I think. I mean, it's obviously not perfect. Racing at some of those southern states in the hot sun of July or August is going to be hell for a lot of the crew guys and drivers at the racetrack. There's a reason we race at Texas in March and in November, in the early spring and the fall. We don't race at Texas in the summer. Maybe they'll make that a night race or something and save us. Obviously, the schedule is not perfect at all, but I'm actually very impressed with NASCAR's ability. Obviously, a lot still has to go right for us to be racing by May 24th. But if that happens, NASCAR, I commend them. Because with this schedule, we don't lose any races. 36 races will still be on the racing reference page for the 2020 season. The only race I mentioned earlier that is not on that list is the All-Star race. It's not clear from, I guess, the schedule that the Athletic obtained. It's not clear whether it's canceled or just going to be moved somewhere else on that list. But, I mean, yeah, if the All-Star race gets canceled, it gets canceled. If that's the one thing we have to sacrifice, I'm okay with it. I'm very impressed if we are able to get through 2020 and that's the only race we miss. The question remains, even if we somehow are able to get back racing by May 24th, which I do think is kind of a long shot. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it here. There's a good chance many of these races are gonna be run without fans in the stands. That's a real possibility. I think that's something that NASCAR is prepping for, that the tracks are prepping for, and it's terrible, it sucks, but personally, I'd rather us get the races in, even if there's no fans in the stands, rather than cancel this whole season altogether. It might come to that. Nobody really knows where this is headed, where the end game of this whole thing is. It could come to that. I've heard people suggest that baseball might cancel its whole season right now. Things could get bad. Things could get much worse, and this schedule could be thrown out the window, ripped in half in a moment's notice. But for now, even if we have to run most or all these races without fans in the stands, I would like to see it happen if possible. But obviously safety is number one first and foremost, so it's going to be interesting. It is going to be interesting, but this is really cool to see where NASCAR's head is at, and I like what I'm seeing. This schedule is, best you can do given the circumstances. Got 2 IndyCar NASCAR doubleheader weekends on that schedule, so that's pretty cool. If you're just a motorsports fan in America, you're going to have a lot to do sitting on your couch this weekend or hopefully getting the chance to go out to some of these races. That would be absolutely phenomenal. But there you have it. That is the proposal for the 2020 revised schedule should we get back racing by May 24th. Again, that's less than 2 months away. I'd say it's a long shot, but I'm never going to sit here and say never. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Are there any dates on that revised schedule that you would be most excited to see? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you think there's anything from that revised schedule that possibly could be implemented towards like the 2021 schedule or future years, where hopefully this whole virus is no longer an obstacle, at least in any major way, and we can just have fun with the schedule once again? Are there any of those dates that you guys maybe would like to see permanent? Do you like seeing, Las Vegas in the round of 8? Like, what do you guys think? I'm just spitballing here, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Of course, we have one other topic to discuss today. Yes, it's iRacing again, but you older school fans who maybe aren't as big of iRacing fans, even some of you new guys who aren't as big fans of iRacing, I think everyone's a little excited about this announcement. NASCAR and NBC revealed this morning that they're introducing yet another iRacing series to go on during this hiatus. It's the NBC Esports Short Track iRacing Challenge, and it starts this coming Monday in just a few days on NBCSN. And you can see it in this tweet right here. Rockingham, Lucas Oil Raceway in Indianapolis, Myrtle Beach, and Martinsville are listed as the short tracks they are discussing. So this is pretty cool. NBC, NASCAR, iRacing have gotten together a pretty solid group of Cup Series drivers. We'll look at the list in just a second, and they are planning 4 kind of mini races to take place at those historic short tracks. All virtual, of course, but what NASCAR has done here is they've taken 18 real drivers and they've divided them into groups of 6. So there's 3 groups, and what they're going to do is each group of 6 is going to race, and the top 2 finishers in each race, that'll leave you 6 of course, will then race in a 4th race for the overall tournament championship. And the kicker is all 4 of these races are taking place at short tracks, 3 of which we're not really used to seeing Cup Series cars on, at least not recently. So let's take a look at some details. This Monday, the first race is at Rockingham Speedway, the virtual Rockingham Speedway. Of course, we haven't had a Cup race at Rockingham since 2004, but in that race on iRacing, Kyle Busch, William Byron, Austin Dillon, Parker Kligerman, Tyler Reddick, and Bubba Wallace will be competing. And then Tuesday at Lucas Oil Raceway, Justin Allgaier, Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe, Harrison Burton, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson will compete in a race. And then Wednesday at Myrtle Beach Speedway, Landon Castle, Matt Benedetto, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Timmy Hill, Ryan Preece, and Myatt Snyder will be racing. And then remember, the top 2 finishers of each of those races will then compete at Martinsville. I assume on Thursday. They'll race at Martinsville, and it will be the 6 of them competing for the tournament championship. Each race will be broadcast on NBCSN at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The races will be timed, as in they will not have a set distance beforehand. It will take place during the span of, it doesn't look like they've made that specific yet. They've made that public. So just in case you aren't already a little tired of iRacing, here's some more for your plate. But now it's NBC, not Fox this time. But pretty cool to see NBC also buying in, getting involved. Obviously, everyone's seeing the success that FS1 and Fox have had with these first 2 Pro Invitational broadcasts. Now NBC's interested in doing IndyCar broadcasts on their channel. And now, obviously, more NASCAR, more Dale Jr., more Kyle Busch, more big names, and more exciting tracks. This is what I mean, guys. NASCAR is listening. Is that finally dead? Is the belief that NASCAR does not listen to its fans, is that finally gone? Have we finally destroyed that rumor, that falsehood? Because obviously NASCAR has heard that people want more short tracks, so here you go. Rockingham, back on the schedule. Yes, it's virtual, but it's a lot easier to put Rockingham in a virtual schedule than it is to go over there and actually fix that track up a little bit. Myrtle Beach, that's not built for Cup Series cars, but here we are. The facility, I'm saying, is not built for a Cup Series race, but here we are, going to race on that little short track as well. Lucas Oil Raceway, of course, people have been wanting NASCAR to go back over there to that track up in Indianapolis for years now. You never know. Trucks or Xfinity Series could definitely get back there at some point soon, but some people want Cup too. That's a little unrealistic at the moment, but you can do it virtually. So I love it. I think it's awesome, and I think a lot of fans are going to have a lot of fun watching these races. I'll be tuning in. Again, in the evenings, I got nothing else to do. So I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. We covered a lot of information in today's episode. I feel like a school teacher, a lecturer. That will be on the test. Please take your notes. All my classes are on Zoom now, so I feel like I need to, if I could, I'd change the background into something silly. I don't know. I'm not funny. Anyway, you guys, thank you for watching this episode. That's all I've got. Remember to subscribe if you are new, if you like these types of videos. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram as well, and a big thank you to my amazing Patreon supporters. I wish I could be traveling more, getting out to more racetracks like I was at the start of the season, but for now, I still really appreciate the support I get on Patreon. Once this hiatus ends, I will be back on the road covering the sport the way I do. So if you enjoy these videos, check out that top link down in the description. I greatly appreciate it, y'all. That's all I have for this episode. Thank you, everyone, everyone for watching. More episodes planned probably this weekend. Tomorrow night I'll be live streaming my POV of the Filter Time Bash at Talladega, NASCAR Heat 4 race. So if you want more esports, not iRacing, but it should be a lot of fun. A lot of other YouTube creators are in that race as well. So check that out if you're around. Sunday morning pre-race live stream before the Pro Invitational. That'll be on this channel as well. Spencer Boyd will be joining me and Raja Karuth this week, Truck Series driver. So get ready for that. We'll get you prepared for the Pro Invitational race at Bristol this Sunday. Yeah, that's all I've got. Thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you again very, very soon.